Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley. And I am so excited about our today's show. I'm talking about because this young lady is also a classmate of mine. I wanted to congratulate her because we just graduated this past week, and so it's an absolute pleasure to have her on the show today because she is going to tell us how we go about redefining success and everything that we do. And we're going to talk about the different tools that she uses in doing this. And we're going to talk about her absolutely fantastic book that Michelle and I have been looking at over the last few days. So I'm excited to have her on the show. And of course, my wife is going to introduce her, tell you the purpose, and she's going to introduce this young lady, LaQuita. That's all I'm going to say right now. But as always, I have to bring on my beautiful co-host, uh, the lady that does all of the heavy lifting and the James Cooley programs and on the show, my beautiful wife, Michelle Cooley. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's been a really busy day, but I'm just so excited because, you know, God is good. It's a beautiful day, and, we are blessed with many things, James. So I'm just excited.
Yeah, we're blessed with so many things, especially to have this young lady on the show today. And I want to get this started because we had so much fun meeting her, spending time with her and her family and the rest of the classmates. And Atlanta got it going on. I tell you, Atlanta got it going on. So first of all, I want to say, if you're watching the show, listening to the show, wherever you're at, whether you're listening to it on E360 TV, Apple TV, or whatever, or watching it on E360 TV, Apple TV, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, whatever mechanism that you are checking us out on, you can always go to the comments section. And if you got a question for this great lady, you put it in the comment section. I'll make sure that she get an opportunity to see it, and I'll make sure that we do all we can to answer your questions. So come be part of this great conversation because LaQuita is getting ready to throw down with this. So Michelle, first of all, can you please tell our viewers and listeners what the title of today's show and the purpose?
Yes, the title of today's show is Redefining Success, 8 tools that I use to develop a growth mindset. And the purpose of the show is getting to know certified speaker, transformational coach, trainer, facilitator, podcaster, and author Dr. LaQuita Monley. Discuss how her experiences in a military family impacted her life and to talk about her book titled Redefining Success, 8 tools that I use to develop a growth mindset. And we're going to discuss her broadcast, LaQuita's Toolbox Live.
Wow. And why don't you come on introduce this great lady to our listening audience and viewers?
Yes, Dr. LaQuita Monley is a devoted wife, proud Army wife, mother of five, and grandmother of five. She also operates in purpose and expertise as a transformational coach, mentor, and international speaker. Dr. LaQuita's mantle is to charge others with the task of progressing into the best version of themselves. As a certified speaker, coach, trainer, and facilitator, LaQuita seamlessly shifts from ministry to the marketplace with transformative messages on mindset and leadership that produce real life growth strategies. The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, E360 TV proudly presents Dr. LaQuita Monley.
Hey, how you doing, LaQuita?
Hey,
How are you doing?
I am doing fabulous. I'm doing fabulous, even better now that I'm here. Praise God. So thank you so much for having me on.
Come on now. I told you the first time that we talked and we sit back and chat. I said, I got to get you on the show. I got to get you on the show. I'm excited about all the things that you're doing, especially your book. I haven't read the whole thing, but Michelle and I've been, and you'll see with the questions that we ask you that we've been glimmering through it,
Praise God.
I find it extremely exciting, and I can't wait till you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about your techniques and all the things that you're doing. But before we get this started, can you please tell our viewers and our listeners a little bit about LaQuita? Tell them where you grew up, who gave you the purpose up to my far as your family, a role model, to doing some of the things that you're doing right now? Because you're doing a whole lot.
Oh, praise God. So let me start off by saying, first and foremost, what I want everyone to know about who I am, the roles that add the most value to my life, and that I believe allow me to add value to the lives of those that God brings into my life, are my positions as wife, mom, and grandmother. Those three positions are the most valuable positions that I hold, and they lay the foundation for everything that I do. So I just want to let everybody know that up front. The proud military wife, mom of five adults, grandmother of five grandchildren, soon to be six, praise God. But we're at number five right now, so I'll say 5.5, right? Those are the things that are most important to me at this point. But so far as where I'm from small town Mississippi, born and raised in Macomb, Mississippi. And, growing up, being in a small town seemed like it was probably the worst thing ever. But sitting on this side of adulthood, it was the absolute best thing. God knew exactly what he was doing when he designed my life and allowed me to be born into the family I was born into, as well as being raised up in the place that I was raised up in. So, met my husband in high school. I was 15 and he was 17, and our happily ever after is we are still together today from 1992 to 2022. Praise God. The Lord is faithful, and we have definitely have had some challenges, but by and large, life has been great, and God has blessed our marriage, He's blessed our union, and He's allowed us to do and see some amazing things. But so far as those that have the greatest impact in my life to date would be my parents, my grandparents, my aunts. We have a very close knit family, like most people do that are from small country towns. So my family had the biggest impact in my life growing up, and I would say also my Sunday school teacher, Miss Barbara McMorris, had one of the biggest impacts on my life growing up.
Wow. So now let's dive off into this. Can you share with our viewers one defining moment that actually transferred or made you think this is what I got to do? This I need to really get this myself together, and I know I have purpose. So it's always, I believe, that a defining moment that kind of pushes us to the left or to the right. Can you tell
Mhm.
our viewers a little bit about that?
So I would say my very first defining moment that said, okay, LaQuita, you've got to get yourself together, um, was the moment that I decided that I was going to be a teenage parent. That was the very first defining moment in my life. Prior to then, life was, it was a box of chocolates. All I had to do was go to school, make good grades. My parents didn't even require me to have a part time job. My job was to go to school, make good grades, and be the best at whatever extracurricular activity that I chose to do. And I chose to do a lot of them. Dr. Cooley, I chose to do a lot of them. And so my family didn't want me to have that stress of going to work. So that could be good and bad because I had a whole lot of free time on my hands to do stuff that I shouldn't have done. So, but it was in that moment where I had to, at that crossroads when I found out that I was pregnant, and the now what happens. And it makes, that young lady, that teenager now had to step into real life adulthood. And so that was one of the very first transformational moments in my life, was
Well,
making that
so
decision to be a
so
teenage parent.
you mentioned transformation, and
Yes.
you are a transformation coach. And a lot of folks don't know that I'm finishing up another doctorate in transformation leadership. So I know it's from the inside out.
Yes.
Can you explain to our viewers is a transformational coach and exactly what you do?
Transformational coach is really what you said in a nutshell. To make a whole lot of explanation into something short and sweet, it's understanding that true change starts from the inside out. And that true change has to start from our perception, from our thought pattern. And transformation begins when we begin to think and see the world differently. When we begin to think about and to see our circumstances, situations differently. Instead of seeing them as they are, we begin to visualize them the way that we want them to be. And that's the initial first part of transformation. The second biggest step in transformation, and what I like to lead my clients through, is if they can visualize it, then they have to begin to walk in the direction of that thing that they desire most. And it's not an option, it's not a fairy tale, it's my reality. I'm just working out the manifestation of the thing that I have in my head. So, yeah.
Wow. And you're right. It starts from the inside out, and a lot of times, many of us do not understand that most of the challenges that we are having, and we think that we're having them with other folks, are really the challenges because we don't really know who we are.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So when you figure that out, I believe that it's easier for us to help identify what purpose God has put us here to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
but I want to say hello to a few folks before we take the station break. We got Tisha Hammond, the small business cheerleader coach, who
Yes.
I had an absolutely fantastic interview with yesterday. So uh, how you doing out there, Tisha? Avon Jones. I mean, I've been knowing this guy ever since we were knee high to a grasshopper, over a 50-year friendship. So thanks a lot. And I think this is Sharmisha. I don't know how to pronounce
Charmise. Yeah.
Samis. Hey, thanks so much. We're gonna take a station break, but I promise you, we're gonna come back and we are really going to dive into a lot of more with my good friend, Dr. LaQuita. So I tell you, if you're thinking about some questions, anything that you want to ask this great lady, by all means, let's bring it on. Let's bring it on. It's your life. I'm James Cooley. We'll be back shortly after the break.
Listen up, it's Dr. James J.C. Cooley. Yeah. It's the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Hey.
Hey, I'm James Cooley, the host of E360. It's Your Life, the James Cooley Show, which I tell you, I want you to watch because we're going to encourage people to dream big, think big, and be big at everything they do. We're going to have absolutely fantastic guests that are going to come on, that's going to inspire each and every last one of us. And we are going to work together because we are a team. And you always have heard the saying, it takes a village to raise a kid or communities and all of these other type of things. That's what we're going to do with the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life on E360 television, on 31 different podcasts, on the radio, streaming, radio, TV. I hope you join us real soon. It's Your Life. I'm James Cooley. See you soon. Hello, welcome back to It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and I'm tickled pink already. I'm just having such a wonderful time with one of my classmates, and it's an absolute pleasure to have her on the show today. And now we're getting ready to really dive off into the meat of this stuff because I want to learn about these 8 different tools and about a book and about a lot of the other things that she is doing. I'm telling you, it's a very incredible woman here. And so if you have any questions or comments, just go to the Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, E360, any one of those, and put your comments in there, and we're gonna get those comments uh, out there so she will see them, and everybody else will get an opportunity to see them as well. So, LaQuita, uh, in what you do growing up or your professional life, do you have a professional role model that you focus and shape your thoughts on some of the things that that person or persons might be doing that influence you?
I have had different professional role models throughout my life. Um, One of my very first professional role models was um, her name is Pastor Danielle Grace. And she helped to mold and develop me in so many different ways, spiritually, naturally, as a businesswoman, as a mom, as a minister. And throughout the course of my career over the years, the Lord has brought many other individuals in my life. Another one, her name is Priscilla Masvipour, and just watching her career and her professional development and growth and business growth has been amazing. She's also landed a major impact in my life. And just though I think those two women, because we have personal relationships, are the most impactful. Of course, on the celebrity status, there's a number of different women that such as Priscilla Schreier, Valerie Burton, Patrice Washington, just a number of different women who have a powerful platform. Of course, I love the work that they're doing, but just to say two role models who were poured personally into my life, I would definitely have to say that would be Pastor Danielle Grace, as well as a really good friend of mine. Her name is Priscilla Masvipour.
Wow. So you mentioned that you met your husband now when you was 15
Yes.
and he was 17. And so you are a proud Army wife. And remember me and your husband, we kind of had a little because I'm Navy, but I mean it's
He said we're gonna let you make it on that one. You made a bad decision, but you rocked with it, and you did the thing, and you excelled in it. So hey,
yeah. So can you tell our viewers how did you and your husband meet? I know you met when you were 15,
yeah.
and some of the things that he has done to help shape you and influence you in some of the things that you're doing right now.
So we met in high school. So he was a senior and I was a freshman. Um, and we started dating, and we have been together ever since. One of the things that my husband does that definitely shapes and helps to develop me into who I am is he's my biggest advocate. He's my biggest encourager. It doesn't matter whether or not we're in total agreement on my idea of what it is that we're doing. He's always my biggest cheerleader. So, especially in those times when we know entrepreneurship is rough. Social media makes it look sexy, it makes it look easy, it makes it look like it's gonna happen overnight, but that's not the truth. And in those moments when the lights, the camera, all that's not on, you have to have somebody in your corner telling you could go ahead, you can do it, and that's the role that he plays. And he has played that role in my life even well before I became an entrepreneur, and everything that we're doing together. From that decision to say, okay, I'm going to be a teenage mom. Not once did he drop that ball. He seemed at that time more confident in my ability to be a great mom than I was. I didn't have no confidence at all. I'd never changed a diaper before. Now I got a whole kid. Like, what am I doing with this? So from day one, he's been that one. So we can have a whole show just about that. When you partner with the right person, because if you're not, you're gonna struggle.
And you're absolutely right. If you don't partner with the right person, and if we rush into things, I'm talking about especially talking from a military perspective. you rush into things and you haven't thought it out and you're not ready. That's a plan for disaster. I mean, so, but longevity, 30 plus years that you and your husband, I mean, that's amazing. And I saw the interaction between you two the other day, and it's just that love is just there, and then when I had mentioned to him about potentially, hey, stick your head in on the show, he's like, oh, she didn't. I'm just now finding out about it. All of those things are important, and hopefully we will get a chance for him to stick his head in here. But LaQuita, can hey, what's up?
That is absolutely when I just found out about it. When you said something about it.
Oh man, it was
But
an
you know
absolute
what?
pleasure meeting you the other day, man. And we're gonna talk because you guys are only 3 hours up the road. So
Right, right.
so I
Yeah,
got
we're
a
not too
question.
far away.
Oh yeah, got a question for both of you guys. LaQuita, you just like we just mentioned to you about your husband, and how has your experiences as a military family impacted your lives? LaQuita, you first. And can you can the brother slide over a little bit so we can get him
I'm
in?
gonna let him in. I'm gonna let him in. I'm gonna let him in.
I'll stay here for a second. I don't want to
Okay.
interrupt y'all.
So the being a military family has impacted our lives. I would say because we got married as teenagers, we literally I graduated in May of 1996. By July of 1996, we were at our first duty station on Fort Hood, and we were married by February of 1997. That was the best thing. It may sound strange, but it was the best thing for us because those of us that are married know marriage is never easy. It's never easy. But when you're at such a young age and still easily influenced by everything, the best thing for our marriage was not being around family because it forced us to have to learn how to communicate with each other and depend on each other. Um, and there was I couldn't run home and tell mama this. I couldn't run home and tell nobody that. That's the 90s, bro. Long distance was not free and it was not cheap. So you had to work it out. You had to, adults, use your words and learn how to communicate with each other. So, yes, there was some downside, but by and large, I believe that our experience as a military family plays a big role in the longevity of our relationship. And I know that might sound strange to other folks in the military, but it's the truth to our story, at least from my perspective.
Wow. What about you?
She stole my answer.
Well, that means you have to come up with another one. Then.
Anytime, we're often asked that question. Seriously, we're often asked that question, and our answer is always the same. It's just a matter of who tells the answer first. So she stole the general answer that we always give, and that's couldn't be further from the truth. But at least from a military perspective, it taught us a lot. I think it taught us a lot of discipline and I don't even know if this is a word, but stick to itiveness. We had to, because we knew what we wanted. We knew we just didn't know quite the path to get there. So we had to keep trying, and along the way, there was a lot of failures. There was a lot of disappointments. But we had the discipline to hang in there. We had the discipline to maintain. We had the discipline to stay the course, and continue to strive for what we knew we wanted our end goal to be. So, yep, 5 kids in, and we're trying to figure this thing out. And we had to have a lot of discipline, and we had to stick to it. So I would say those two things. The military definitely helped us out with, and being adaptive to change as well, because as you know, the military has always got you changing, so you have to learn how to pick up and go, sit up somewhere else, and do the same thing all over again and continue life, you know. And with 5 kids, you can't get discouraged because you have those little people that are looking up to you to carry the torch, to keep going. So, you know, we couldn't get discouraged. We couldn't give up because we still had them. So it taught us a lot.
Wow.
And that even includes the deployments and the field problems. Like, we were actually having a bit of this conversation on our drive to Atlanta. A lot of military families find that the deployments or the field problems, field exercises were hindrances. It goes back to perspective, Dr. Cooley. If you in there desiring to chop each other up into little bitty pieces, you got the big elephant in the room and ain't nobody talking. And then all of a sudden you got 14 days that you're not going to see each other. Or you've got 3 months that you're not going to physically be with one another. Then you have to, how did you put it? Like, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah, definitely. We may not get along too long together, but the more we're apart, the more we want to see each other. Yeah. So it's like, okay, and those deployments and those field problems, those 2-week field problems, those 30-day field problems, they always seem to come just on time. Because we be in the middle of something, you know, we be about to get at each other's throats and stuff, and then I gotta go to the field for 2 weeks. I gotta go to the field for 30 days. Oh, I just got orders. I gotta go to Iraq, Afghanistan, wherever. And it's like, okay, everything else, we throw that to the side. Now we gotta focus on each other. Yeah. Now we gotta take care of each other. We have to we have to set you up for being able to deal with these kids while I'm gone, being able to deal with all of the family stuff and our personal lives while I'm gone overseas or gone to the field or whatever. So those breaks, I like to call them, those small breaks came just on time, you know, exactly when we needed them and it allowed us to continue to build and continue to improve on our relationship. Yes.
Oh yeah.
It made you look at what was important versus what really wasn't important, and stop spending so much unnecessary energy on things that really did not matter.
Yep. You know, one of the things that I guess it's a stigma with Black families. They said we don't have stickability. You guys been together ever since you 15 to 17 years old. So whoever out there is saying that, that's not true. It all depends on your attitude and your ability to be flexible. You got to be flexible. Yes. You know, I tell you, we're going to take a station break, but we're going to come back. We're going to pick this up and we're going to talk about those 8 defining tools. So I tell you, I want everybody to stay tuned. If you got some questions, come on now. Don't be afraid. Go to those mechanisms, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, E360 TV. Ask this young lady and this young man, me, a question. It's your life. I'm James Cooley. We'll be back shortly after this break.
There's much truth in a journey that ain't over yet, as all of us journey through life's precious gift of time, just like James Cooley has. Hi, I'm Noah Dingley, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. There's a new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet. You can join James as he shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. This is a must listen for anyone who thinks they're stuck in life or needs to understand their current situation is not their final destination. Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet is the unfiltered truth to provide hope for the future by challenging you to refuse to become a victim of life's circumstances. It dares you to be an overcomer because a bigger, better, and more impactful life awaits you. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Hello. Hey, I'm James Cooley. I CEO of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, Options, Opportunity / the Choice Program. Our primary mission is to help build a foundation of our youth and young adults and communities. And we encourage everyone to dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. And the way that you do that is, first of all, you got to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You have to know that you are here for a purpose. You also have to be able to step out your comfort zone and do things that you probably didn't think that you can do. Hello, welcome back to It's Your Life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and I tell you, I believe that we just got a lesson learned from an absolutely fantastic couple that shows that stickability is what we have to maintain, even though we're going to go through some trials and tribulations. But I call that growing pains and actually getting a chance to know each other and understand each other, even in good times and bad times, because I believe that as we grow, as we become seasoned, as we learn, the wisdom come with that, and it's become more than just toleration. So it becomes that little that yolk and that glue. So I want to thank you guys for sharing that information. I think that's so important. I think the world needs to know about that. Tell your husband, he got me thinking stickability, it's there. And he used some other word, I forgot what it was, but it sounded great. Oh, I can't hear you. Uh-oh, something is
I
wrong.
forgot to unmute. So, so he was saying stick to itiveness. It's one of the things, resiliency is key. Resiliency is key no matter whether you are military affiliated or not military affiliated. We have to be resilient in our life and understand that in order to have something that you've never had, you've got to be willing to do something that you've never done and not give up, not give up. Because if it's worth having, then it's worth fighting for. If it's worth having, it's worth making the necessary changes that one needs to make in order to maintain the thing, especially for those of us in the kingdom. We have to make the changes necessary to maintain the things that we're asking God to give us. So, but yeah, that's another conversation for another day. But
Yeah, hey, I want to switch the topic. I want to talk about these eight defining the refining success and using your eight tools, and also tell our viewers why you wrote this book and what you are expecting them to get out of it.
so my husband actually answered a little bit of the question of that question earlier in one of his responses. I'm often asked, LaQuita, how did you do it? How did you, go from teenage mom to where you are today? How did you manage the day-to-day life? And especially during those times of rapid deployment, um, he would spend a year in the States and 15 months not in Texas. A lot of people don't realize, even though they were back in the States, it did not mean he was in Texas then. It just meant he was somewhere prepping and preparing to go. So I would get that question all of the time. And I would give the answers depending on the setting that I was in. Most of the time it was a teaching session or something like that. Well, now in this age of fully retirement for him, it gave me the space to be able to get my thoughts on paper and craft them into a book. So my book, Redefining Success, 8 Tools That I Use to Achieve a Growth Mindset, it's actually the first book in a 5-part series that is, then my desire for the reader is to be, that they would leave each book with a tool, leave each chapter understanding what that tool is and how to properly implement that tool in order to become the best versions of themselves. And if they picked up that book and they said, and you said it best earlier in the show, Dr. Cooley, if you don't know who you are, when you finish this book, you will have a really good understanding of what you need to do to begin that journey of understanding who you are and who God created you to be.
Okay. So mindset. Can you define what you mean by mindset? Because it's different for a lot of people. So what is your definition of mindset?
My definition of mindset, it leads all to my perception. You know, we understand, or most of us understand that our thoughts dictate every single thing that we do. So if my thoughts are erratic and random, then I need to develop a system to which I can bring those thoughts under subjection. I can bring those thoughts into an alignment and not just have them erratic and allowing those thoughts to lead me into places I don't want to be. So in my mindset, in order to begin to change that mindset, I have to begin to change the things that I put before myself. So my mindset is my house of thoughts. Where do those thoughts come from? Those thoughts are generated by what I put in me. What am I reading? What am I listening to? What environments am I allowing myself to be in? Who or what is pouring into me? When we're talking about mindset and making a mindset shift, that means I have to become responsible or more intentional, if you will, about the things that I'm listening to, the things that I am seeing, and the places that I'm allowing myself to be.
Wow. Let's talk about these tools. Let's break them down, because I'm excited. I'm excited about this. So, let's talk about the tools.
So when we're looking at the tools, with each chapter, and those that have had an opportunity to get the book, there's a bonus tool takeaway at the end, so you actually end up with 9 tools instead of 8 tools, and each tool is a building block upon each other. So the very beginning has us understanding what purpose is. What is my identity? What is my purpose? And then the next set of tools, all of the rest of the tools, begin to help us put those things into perspective. I understand my identity. I understand my purpose. Let me begin to craft out my core values. And in crafting out my core values, let me begin to understand the environment that I'm around. Who's in my network? Who's in my network is very important. It's one of the most important tools for me that's in the book, next to understanding the identity, because my network does determine my net worth. Those individuals that I allow to have the most intimate access into my life have the biggest influence over my life. So if those individuals that have that intimate access to my life, that they don't have the ability to help me to achieve the goal that I'm trying to achieve, then I have them placed in the wrong place in my life. For instance, you are in a DFW area. If I am trying to get to you from Killeen, but I hop on a bus going towards San Antonio, that's absolutely pointless. It's putting me further and further away from you. And we tend to do that with people in our life. We have the people in the intimate areas in our life who have not done the thing that we're trying to do. So that means they do not have the wisdom, the knowledge, or the understanding on how to get me there. And I wonder why I'm not achieving the goal. We have to understand how to place people in our lives. And because that our network does look like our net worth.
Wow. You got a chapter in the book called Rethinking Obstacles. I found that to be intriguing. Can you go into it a little bit more, because wow, it's absolutely fantastic. And just tell our viewers a little bit about that particular chapter. We can talk about the rest of them, but that stood out to me.
That chapter, wow, that chapter is based off of a really sensitive area in my life. A really sensitive area in my life. So at that point in my life, I was struggling with my identity. I had no idea who I was. And so I was placing my identity in, or my value into what I was perceiving success to be at that time. And so because I started out life as a teenage mom, teenage wife, I had not yet gone to university at this particular point in my life. But a lot of my friends that I grew up with, not only had they gone to university, many of them were in their master's program. Some of them were starting their PhD program. So I was looking at their life like it was wonderful, and I was looking at my life like insignificant. You know, I was like the spies that went out with Joshua and Caleb. I saw myself like a grasshopper. I didn't think I could take the mountain, Dr. Cooley. I did not. So in this particular chapter, I just started college. And I was so excited because I felt like, I'm for the first time in my life, I'll be able to add value to my family in some way other than just being a baby making machine. But if I can get this degree, get a good job, I'll be able to add value to my family and then begin to be able to help my husband the way that I desire to help him. And Dr. Cooley, I fooled around and found out I was pregnant with my fourth kid. Can you say devastated?
That's God. It's a blessing because the fourth kid, I believe, according to what I have read, kind of got you refocused. And that brings us to the next chapter, adjust to ascend. Yes. Let's talk about that.
Yes. So finding out that I was pregnant and the decisions that we had to make at that point definitely was an eye opener in causing us to be able to see the opportunity in this opposition. And after being able to clearly see the opportunity in this opposition, which at that time I felt like pregnancy was an opposition against me from achieving my goals and becoming the person that I needed to become. The next thing that I had to do was seizing this opportunity, and the opportunity came in the form of entrepreneurship. I had to make some adjustments. I had to make some adjustments in my thinking. I had to make some adjustments in my day-to-day activities. That adjustment in my thought life opened the door for me to be able to make the adjustments in my natural life that needed to be made. And once those adjustments were in place, I started to ascend. You know, entrepreneurship it was a seed that was planted a long time ago, but I didn't give it much thought. But in that moment, that seed took root and then it began to germinate. It began to really germinate. And I began to see for the first time that working a 9-to-5, clocking in and clocking out for somebody was not what I wanted to do. It was not going to be the end all be all of who I was. But being an entrepreneur and learning how to be a successful entrepreneur, that was going to be the path and the track that I took. And so it started out with an obstacle. And I thought that the obstacle was pregnancy.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you hold that thought? Because we got to take another station break. But we're going to come back and we're going to pick it up. And we're going to talk a lot more about this wonderful book that you wrote. So if you want to be part of this conversation, go to the comments. I mean, I promise I'll get them up there. So I'll tell you, we'll be back shortly after the break. It's Your Life. I'm James Cooley.
My program is built on the 4 C's. And the 4 C's are create. Create is the thoughts that we have. Each and every last one of us have these thoughts, these ideas, these dreams. We have these things every day. A lot of times when we get these thoughts, we don't want to do anything but lay down and go back to sleep or whatever that might be, and we wake up and the thoughts are gone. I believe that a high spirit always telling us something every single day. Every single day. So create the ideals that you get, that you think about, that you dream of. You say, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, LaQuita is teaching, she preaching. I mean, she doing it all, and this is so intriguing, and it's so much needed because people need to understand that sometimes we feel that things are thrown in our way that's going to throw us off track. But a lot of times, I believe it's a blessing to help prepare us for tomorrow. So I believe everything is about purpose, and that's what I believe that you are laying down to us right now. You're teaching us that purpose, getting to our purpose. Sometimes we have to sit back and struggle and think about things, which is not bad. It might look bad or feel bad at that moment, but I believe that just leads us to what God has in plan and in store for us. So let's talk about the Toolbox. Let's talk about your show, Toolbox Live. Come on, just tell me about it.
Thanks for asking. So LaQuita's Toolbox Live is my live streaming podcast. For the last couple of weeks, we have been doing an amazing show about military spouses. And so if you haven't caught that, make sure you go back and catch those, and we'll be live again tomorrow. But the goal for the podcast really is I want to leave people with impactful tools that they can use to grow, both personally, professionally, as well as entrepreneurs, because my biggest passion is personal growth and development. I really believe that through personal growth and development, everything else will fall into place. If I can become the best version of myself in my thought life, and I get those thoughts together, everything else is a walk in the park, but it's getting that thought life together. And that comes through personal development. So the guests that I have on the show are experts, they're subject matter experts in their area. And we just like to drop a couple of tools with each episode and teach how to implement those tools so that the listener can have some more tools in their arsenal to become the best versions of themselves.
So LaQuita, what other broadcast platforms are you working on? I know you're doing a whole lot of things. Can we talk about those a little bit? I want everybody to know who you are, the things that you're doing, how impactful that could be for them, and how we can all just bring love and work together. So can we talk about that?
Yes. So thank you. My podcast is on all major podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google, just iHeartRadio. It's across all major platforms. And on my streaming, which is LaQuita's Toolbox Live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, as well as Twitch and LinkedIn. You can find us there as well. We're also on Apple TV and Roku TV. We haven't had, although on that one, we haven't had any episodes up in a couple of weeks because we're revamping and we're getting ready to come out with something that's going to be bigger and better. And just the visual aesthetics of it is going to be way better than what it was in last season. So you guys that have been following us on Roku TV and Apple TV, don't worry, we didn't disappear. We took a small break. small break, and when we do come back, it's going to be very impactful. So if you want to connect with me on any on my podcast or on my live stream, just if you Google LaQuita Monley, all things LaQuita Monley will come up. I am the person that handles my social media, so if you shoot me a message, I'll contact you back as quickly as I can. If they go out to my website and say, hey, I want to be a guest on your show, or I want to learn more about who you are and what you do, you fill out that contact us form, and within 2 to 3 business days, someone from my team will respond to you and set up a time for us to have a virtual coffee date.
Yeah, I want to go back to your book, because I don't want to lose insight, and I don't want the viewers. What do you expect the readers to get from your book? I see so many great nuggets in there, so many things in there, and just what do you expect? What would the reader expect to get from your book?
What I expect the reader to get from the book is be confident in who God called you to be. Be confident in who God called you to be. If you pick up the book and you already know and you're kind of unsure, by the time you get to that last page in the book, be confident and unapologetic about who God called you to be, and be passionate about pursuing your purpose. You know your purpose, be passionate about pursuing it. If you're on that flip side of that coin and you pick up the book and you don't know who you are or who God called you to be, when they put the book down, I want them to be passionate about learning, who am I? Where is my identity in Christ? And how can I begin to pursue that purpose with a passion? That's the takeaway, is to pursue that purpose with a passion.
Okay, we're down to the last 3 minutes, so we're gonna have to speed this one up, because I got so many questions, and I'm getting ready to come at you now, because LaQuita, what does success mean to you?
Success for me right now in my life is that everything that I do on a professional level has to work around my family time. That's it in a nutshell. It's not about money, things, or stuff. It's about the quality time that I get to spend with my family. Now, I do need to make the money. Let's not get it twisted.
Oh,
You
yeah.
need to make the money.
Oh, yeah.
However, it's no longer going. I'm at a place in my life where it's not a priority over the time that I spend with my family. I can't be so busy making money for my family that I don't spend time with my family.
And you just hit it on the nose. I mean, we all want to make money, but when we just running after money, we lose purpose.
Yes.
We lose purpose, and you can make all the money in the world, but I don't think that buys happiness.
It does not.
I know some of the richest people in the world that's totally unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, what would you like for your legacy to be?
What I would like my legacy to be, when people mention my name, or most importantly, when my family thinks about me, that legacy, I would love it to be that they remember me as one who lived life to the fullest, loving my family, loving my family, loving my family, and being unapologetic about pursuing my goals and my dreams.
Okay. How can people connect with you and purchase your book?
They can purchase my book on Amazon. If you go out to Amazon and just in the search engine, type in LaQuita Monley, then you will see my podcast. Go ahead and subscribe to that, yeah. And you will also see my book, and you can order the ebook there right on Amazon. And to connect with me, just reach out to me via any of my social media platforms. I'm most active on LinkedIn, but I am also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So it just depends on what your favorite social media platform is. I'm probably already there. Just connect.
Wow.
The
last word. No, we're down to the last word. Okay. So is there any particular thing that you want to leave our listeners with that they need to think about?
really the theme of the conversation. It is your everything hinges on your identity. No matter where you are in life, I don't care what you've achieved until this point. If you are unsure about your identity, it should be your mission in life to discover your identity. If you already know your identity, then your mission now is to begin to pursue after your purpose with a passion.
You know, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on the James Cooley Show. It's your life. You know we're gonna have to do this again, and we're
I
gonna
am
have to
ready.
continue. We're gonna have to continue to collaborate because you're only 2.5 hours up the road. So, well, not even that far. But we certainly gonna have to do this again. So I'd like to thank you for taking the time to come on the show. I'd like to thank my beautiful wife, our co-host Michelle Cooley. Most importantly, I'd like to thank our viewers and our listeners for taking time to listen to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I tell you, I want everybody to just think about this. Dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. And remember that you got purpose. God has purpose for you. You have to go out there and show your purpose. Until next time, it's your life. I'm James Cooley. We'll see you next Tuesday, next Wednesday. Well, actually, I'm gonna see a lot of you guys in a couple hours again on another show. It's your life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.